Good morning and welcome to Love Island The Morning After, the only official Love Island podcast. I'm Indiyah Polack.
And I'm Amy Hart, and this week we are joined by another fabulous guest. All week we have the wonderful Maddie Grace Jepson with us.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Maddie. So, tell us, how are you feeling?
Last night was a lot, wasn't it?
It was a lot.
How are you feeling about this series so far? Have you got any favourites?
I'm loving all the girls.
Okay.
And she'll leave it at that.
And Tommy.
Well, do you know what, Maddie? Before we get into it, there's something that all of our guests, get presented with.
Oh.
It's kind of like a crowning, okay? It means
It
you're
can
part of the family.
It's the
really
ITV
serious.
Oscars, basically.
Yeah.
I
Now,
think I know what
everyone
it is.
has one of these. Maddie, my friend, I'm here to present you with your very own water.
Oh, my God. I'm going to drink the angel juice.
Yeah, go on, take a first sip and tell us how it tastes. Is it cold?
Do you feel like you want to pull someone for a chat?
Yeah, it tastes like love. I feel like I'm going to meet my man tonight.
Yeah.
Love it. Should I put it there?
Well, you're not going to meet a man tonight.
What?
But I can give you a dumped islander in the shape of Sophie Lee, our first dumped islander of the series.
Yay!
Our girl.
Hi. Good morning, Sophie. How are you feeling?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm feeling fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling ready.
Nice.
I'm just excited to live in the real world again.
Yeah.
You look gorgeous. You're glowing.
Oh, you've got a bit of a tan out there.
I was putting a graft in, so I don't know where the
Yeah.
tan's come from. 'Cause
Now, could you describe your Love Island experience in 3 words?
short,
Okay.
sweet,
Nice.
short.
Right. I mean, we saw like a bit of your journey on there and we saw like your VTs and stuff like that. But what was it, would you say, that really made you want to go into the Love Island villa?
I've gone through so much in my life personally that dating has never been at the forefront of my life until now. Like, I'm definitely in a stage of my life where I do want kids, but how am I going to get these kids? I need to date. I need to find my husband. I need to, experience dating. Even if it's not going to be my husband from day one, I want to experience the fun of dating because so much of my life has been about hospital, treatment, serious things like the money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not wanting to be serious all the time. It's just what I talk about has to be spoken with respect and seriousness, So this Love Island experience was definitely because I'm ready to put that love into someone else.
So I would say then you were hoping to find love on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you still got the whole of summer. It's not
Yeah.
over yet. Love Island's just a
Summer.
small chapter of your experience and life journey.
Listen, we're week 1. These kids have got another 7 weeks.
Now, what are we missing out on as viewers? Any hidden moments or like little funny things that happened when you were in there that we didn't see?
Definitely some of the chats. The
Okay.
second episode, I feel, didn't air the chats that we were all also having as girls with the boys. Because obviously, Shakira's in a vulnerable position. So a lot that was aired was about her grafting. But I tell you, I had my grafting boots on. Me and Blue had a great conversation. He's such an amazing person.
Yeah.
So nice. Me and Ben also had an amazing conversation.
Interesting.
He's actually a sweetheart. I
Yeah.
just think he's not had that chance to kind of be that vulnerable, mushy side yet. But
Okay,
yeah.
He's
way
being egged on by the other boys.
he's getting swept with the tides.
Can I just talk about one particular conversation you had because we had a lot to say about it? It was when you were talking to Harry and you were really opening up, talking about everything that's happened in your life and your motivational speaking, the fact you're an author and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I just felt it was all a bit much. Has that happened to you before? Like, how did that make you feel?
First of all, a man that ever tells me, well, actually a boy that ever tells me that I'm too much for him will never be man enough for me.
Period.
So
Fuck it.
Period.
Yeah.
I can't ever then say, oh, great,
Yeah.
I understand because you clearly don't understand me.
Absolutely.
That shows me your growth as a
Yeah.
person.
Exactly.
And everything that I've done in my life, I've achieved on my own. That's why, like with the show and like Love Island, I came here when I was ready to date,
Yeah.
not because I'm here to, I don't know, whatever they're doing. And I now have come to accept that the woman I am is because of what happened to me,
Yeah.
not because of what people say about me, what people think of me. It's what I think about myself.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel bad that he said that. And if anything, I'm proud that I represent a community of trauma survivors and who we are, which is resilience, strength, and beauty in all forms. And if he doesn't see that, then you're in the way of my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
More for him.
Yeah.
That was lovely. That was lovely. And you know what? There is a saying out there that says you're never asking for too much from the right person.
Exactly.
So, hey.
Harry, who?
Okay, so speaking on love and boys, we did see that there were some new bombshells in there. We've got Ramel, we've got Shay. Would you say any of the boys were your type? Would you have spoken to any of them if you were still in there?
So, judging from the most recent episodes,
Last night's episode was quite something.
I mean, Ramel and Shay, they're great looking boys.
Yeah.
But then Ramel, I need to really think about what I'm going to say. And then announce this to the whole nation. He slept with 5 women in one night. So that was straight off the cards. Nope.
Fair
and then
enough.
Shay, I was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to come out of his shell. Shay sells seashells on Shay Shore. He was absolutely not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Until now he's piped up with Tommy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm team Tommy. So
Yeah.
now I'm just like, I didn't like that.
Okay.
So next.
What do you think of the couples? Like Tommy and Megan, obviously, and we've got some other couples in there. Is there any in there that you think can go the distance? Who are you rooting for?
I love Shakira. I love Ben. Obviously, Megan, Tommy. At the minute, everyone's on the rocks. The bombshells are bombing,
They
as
are.
they should.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be the first proper test of the house
Okay.
as a collective and where everyone stands morally between what some of the boys are doing and what some of the girls think of like how they're moving.
Yeah.
And as a collective, it's going to change the whole energy of the house.
I think just on that with the girls, especially, there's only sort of been like 6 of them at a time, really. So they've been able to be just sort of one group. of 6.
Yeah.
Now the new 3 girls have come in. There's
Interjected.
too many of them to be one group, really. And that row between Meg and Malicia really showed. When Shakira said, I'm going to go over and talk to her, we were like, whose side is she going to be on? And they're starting to, I think they all still get on really well, but they are sort of starting to stick up for maybe
Other
someone
people.
that is not your OG day one bestie.
Yes. I don't want to say the word, but it's becoming a little less clicky.
Yeah.
I feel like at the start, it is kind of natural to just stay with the OGs and who you're familiar with. But then as time goes on, you start to talk to people more. You start to see who you gel with more and who you'd probably naturally see as a friend in like the outside world. So, yeah.
And I feel like as well, at first, Meg, she turned into Megalodon real fast. But now, Dejan's showing his true colours. I think she's starting to think, actually, the bombshell was just doing her job. I feel like the heat should really be on Dejan, not
definitely.
the bombshell.
I mean, we're going to defo get into those too.
Yeah.
Because
But-
Melicia's amazing.
Yeah,
she's
she's like a really
beautiful,
nice girl.
gorgeous, and like, that is what she's in there for.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to shake Meg and be like, no,
Yeah.
the energy is directed to the wrong person. The heat is
Yeah,
going to the wrong way.
It always,
Definitely.
it always is in Love Island. The heat is always directed the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of that
I
as
feel
well.
like Meg's a smart girl. Like
Yeah.
she's got that in her to stick up for herself and do the right
Yeah.
thing, but she's angling her anger at the wrong person.
I think it's because as well, she wants it to work, but it does bring out the jealousy in you. So then you start thinking, oh, so it's the girl that must be egging this on
Yeah.
because my man has not showed me this side of him. But now we've seen in the challenge.
the red
Yeah.
flags.
I mean, before we get into all of that, would you say, I know it's still early, wasn't in there long, maybe you didn't get as much time to make like besties and stuff like that, but is there anyone that you think, you know what, I am going to keep in touch with you still?
Lima,
Okay.
Shakira, Blue, Ben,
Okay.
Megan.
You know what, I want to actually
No.
ask you a question about Ben because I feel like, personally, like as a viewer,
Yeah.
and after having like small conversation with you, there's maybe a side to Ben that we didn't see because I did see him in the start of the episode and I personally thought, oh, is he a bit too overconfident? Can it come across as arrogant? And then obviously Shakira has decided to take him back. So I've, gone down the road of, you know what, is there something that we're not seeing about Ben?
Definitely. Because obviously, like, I really got on with Shakira.
Yeah.
And I just want her to be so happy because she's just so happy-go-lucky. Like, her energy's so infectious. And with Ben, we actually spoke on a level because we're not trying to graft each other.
Yeah.
We already established that.
Yeah.
So the boundaries and the level of respect is so different because there's no ulterior motive of what we're going to get out of this chat.
Yeah.
It was just based on what we're going to learn about each other and each other's backgrounds. And when he listened to my story, he held me space to
Yeah.
speak openly, safely, and he was really respectful. And I asked him, what do you actually want to get out of this experience? He goes, well, I feel like I want to work on my romantic side.
Do you know, I did see that little streak in
No,
him when he said it to
honestly.
Shakira. I thought, well, maybe he is telling the truth and maybe he is going to grow and have his sort of
Yeah.
story. But one thing you just said there as well, because I kind of personally experienced this in the villa and I had that experience with Jax. I don't even remember Jax from my season.
yeah.
me and Jax had no romantic interest. But one thing I did rate about him was that when we had a conversation, he was one of the only boys that pulled me for a chat to just have a genuine conversation. He was
That's
like, I
it,
know
yeah.
we don't fancy each other, but we can still talk and be friends. And I think a lot of boys, like you see people's respect when it's not a romance involved.
That's
like
the
if you
best.
still have the respect to talk to me like a human being without any sort of like, oh, it's just because I fancy you. That's kind of where you see people's true colours
Exactly,
come out.
and that's where that frustration is with
Yeah.
Harry, with the conversation with you, because it's just like that's a normal human conversation
Yeah,
to be talking
yeah.
about two people connecting just platonically.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't have to be
normal.
romantic. Like, just chill out, Rob. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm really glad that you had that
Yeah.
experience with him. Actually,
Even Tommy, he was the same.
Aw,
And they're the
we love
youngest in there.
Tommy.
Yeah.
I love Tommy and I love Ben and I did love a few of them.
You love
this,
them, yeah,
up
you
to-
do.
That's because I feel like as girls, we should still champion men. But until they do us wrong, I mean,
Yeah.
we were rooting
Right.
for you.
2 things before we move on to the episode. Number
Yeah.
1, if you had seen all the boys, who would you have picked?
I feel like I can't now because I've got a biased opinion because I've seen what they like.
Okay,
Like
based
that.
off of attraction and maybe your initial type.
I don't think he's come yet. I don't think
Oh,
he's up yet.
okay, fair.
Okay. Finally, before we go into the episode, you're single. We don't like to brag, but we do have quite a lot of viewers on this podcast. There's your camera. What are you looking for in a gentleman? Tell the world. Because we've got an email now. They can
This
literally
is
email
basically
in.
like your
Yeah, this is
your
ad.
Hinge
Yeah.
profile.
Can I do
Like
Because
a
apps
video.
are available.
Yeah.
of course.
Oh my God. Right.
This is like your
Perfect.
dating
So what's your
profile.
type?
We need someone who's got good chat, who's got something about them. I love learning about culture. I love learning about your experiences. Someone that's not just telling me they're 6 foot even though they're 5'11". Do you know? And I need you to maybe take your hat off. I need to see everything. We gotta have a
no
hat fish.
fishing.
hat,
No
red
hat
flag,
fishing.
Hat fishing,
Got
you know?
Got you.
And also I need someone who's a gentleman. Someone who's gonna be keeping me on my toes and hold the conversation to a standard that is of a gentleman.
Love
Brilliant.
that.
We'll forward on any correspondence
P.O.
we
box.
have to you. Yeah. The morning after at itv.com. A whole new bunch of islanders. 8 weeks of doing bits and fire pits and a closet full of the finest pre-love threads from eBay. Summer's finally arrived. If you're living to see what our islanders will be strutting their stuff in, you've come to the right place. Let's test your Love Island trivia on some of the most iconic looks from seasons gone by that could be making their bombshell entrance yet again. It's time for Who's That Islander? In Series 2 of Love Island All-Stars, which islander turned heads on a romantic alpaca barn date in a stunning orange rat and boa halter neck bandeau and matching sarong-style skirt? Is it A, Grace, B, Ekin-Su, or C, Catherine? The answer is Ekin-Su, an outfit I and clearly many of our island girlies have loved. Could she have her moment again? We'll see. For now, get your next villa-inspired fix on eBay, sponsors of Love Island. I think it's time we got into the episode.
Oh, God.
Meg versus Malicia. It's rumbled on and on and on. Do we think we've reached the end?
No.
I don't. Do you know what? I feel like last night's episode was quite heavy. I feel like it was a lot of back and forth. I feel like Meg and Malicia did get to a point of it wasn't agree to disagree. It was like, okay, let's say sorry to each other, but we ain't really friends.
Yeah.
I was pleased to see Meg go and apologise.
Yes.
Because I feel like she was a little bit in the wrong in the first place and she was being a bit immature and I think she woke up the next day a bit embarrassed and it was big of her to go and say, right, I'm just going to go and apologise.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if that would necessarily come like easy to
I think
Meg.
sometimes you do need to sleep on things. I think the night before last, we did see Meg get a little territorial, you know, going around the villa saying that Dijon's her man and how Malicia has no right to pull him to the hideaway and stuff like that. I personally wasn't agreeing with that. I feel like it's early days. Malicia is a bombshell. It's
that's
her
her
job to
job.
bomb.
You're right.
I feel like she was very respectful of Meg's boundaries. If anything, it should have been Dijon to actually make it very clear to Meg
Agreed.
that, hey, I actually do want to get to know Malicia, so
Yeah.
we're going to be having chats. I feel like that's where there was a little bit of misdirected anger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
100%.
But they got
Went the
over
wrong
it.
way.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Meg slept on it, felt a bit embarrassed and realised that she was doing a little bit too much.
I think, though, it's like we say, isn't it? Like a scared animal attacks. And I think she really likes Dijon. It's only been a week, but when you're spending, I know we always say it, but every day, that advantage that you have when you're actually coupled up with the person is you get that one-on-one time in bed. So I think she thinks it's going really well. Malicia's come in. I think she's just fighting for her man, but in the wrong way.
It's like the more she's running, the more he's running away at the minute. But not running too far.
I do a little bit think Dijon's running away is a little bit of a cop-out though. Because I do think if he was being a lot more transparent about the situation and who he wants to get to know, there'd be no reason for him to run away because Meg wouldn't be so aggy about the situation. I feel like if from the jump he was like, hey, Malicia's come in, she's actually my type, so I do want to get to know her a bit more. Meg wouldn't be firing this much.
Yeah, of course. 100%. It's that classic thing, like, make out the girl's crazy, but you've made her crazy because you've not communicated properly. Because at the end of the day, you're on Love Island. Like, if he'd just said, like, I want to get to know her.
Yeah.
She can't really say anything.
Yeah.
I would be like, yeah, fair enough. Annoying, but fair enough. Like, this is what we're here to do. But he hasn't actually, he says that and then he goes and says, you look beautiful tonight, let me kiss your hand. And then says, but actually, boys, I want to get to know me.
It was the typical whispering sweet nothings to you and let me just schmooze you and then, all right, see ya. Do you know? And then Meg's there going, what?
Yeah.
And she's riled up at this point.
Yeah. Every good argument needs a good mediator, and Lima took that upon herself. She didn't have to, as in they're the OG girls, they've all got this friendship. Yeah. And her loyalties don't really lie with the new bombshells, but I feel like Alima is grown up enough to be like, actually, they're coming in, they've got a job to do. I thought it was really brave to actually front Meg up. We've had that friendship for a week.
Agreed.
And when Meg was feeling how she was feeling, she wasn't even like, oh, do you think you should just go and say that? I think what you did was wrong. And then Shakira came over as well and agreed. Meg didn't take it that well, but I think she was just so het up in the moment.
100%.
If anyone had said to her,
let me tell you, Alima from the moment I met her. Like, I'm not cheering for Alima and Ramel, but Alima, I'm cheering for you. Do you know what I mean? She's a gem. And in that moment, she shone. Like, she was just so straightforward. No messing about. Didn't care who it was in terms of like how many people were there. The facts were the facts. And she laid that down.
She didn't want to see anyone be left out. That was the thing.
I think important.
She was pushed out by, coming in can't ever be easy.
Of course.
So I just thought it was really nice that she was like, do you know what? I've got to be the
common ground for everyone.
Yeah. The impartial person. Yeah.
Alicia's walking into a lion's den.
And I think to be fair, even though Alima is an OG, I feel like she can kind of empathize with the bombshells in the sense where I don't think she's had a straight and narrow road from the beginning. She hasn't been with somebody that has been like all eyes for her. Like everyone else is coupled up and getting along with people that they know. And I feel like
I know that feeling.
Megan and Helena, I feel like they kind of shut out how other people might feel.
The thing is as well with Ramel and Alima, most people can count, right? So you go in the villa and there's more boys than girls, which means that boys will be at risk. So I need to find a girl, and I'm not saying that Alima was an easy option because she's a beautiful girl with a beautiful heart and she's amazing, but Ramel didn't even speak to anyone else. And I feel like he knew she wasn't in like a loving relationship with Blue. A loving relationship. She wasn't in a romantic thing with Blue. And he saw her and was like, that's my target. And then now he's like wanting to kiss the people in the challenge, which is very like able to do. But I just think, like you say, on paper, it looks like, oh, it's lovely.
Exactly.
Ramel came straight in for Lima, went for her, and now they're in a couple. Whereas it's not all the seems.
Yeah, and I think it's quite telling. Obviously, the boys did a little slimy thing during the challenge where they just kissed who they wanted to kiss. Got a lot to say about that. However, it was quite telling that Ramel also had the option to kiss Alima even if he wanted to. Even if he wanted to just kiss her for the crack to make her feel good. And he decided not to.
Yeah, that's so true.
You know, like he could have kissed her.
That's so true.
Like no one knows the answers to any of these questions. It was, you could kiss the girl that you're coupled up with. You're going to snog someone right next to her and make her uncomfortable.
Like, that made no sense.
Well, we've seen a lot from Meg and Dijon. Where do we think this is going to lead them? Do you think they're maybe going to get back on track? Or do you think this might actually just be the end of the road now?
I fear it could be the end of the road.
I do feel like Dijon needs to get a little bit of... I think it needs to be a lesson to him.
Get real.
Yeah, it needs to be a lesson to him that if you want to get to know somebody, you need to take their feelings into consideration.
Yes.
And that is towards Meg and Malicia.
And can I just say, Dijon and Harry, at your big old age, you're meant to be the leaders of the house. And at the minute, the younger ones like Tommy, they're showing their morals straight and up
Yeah,
front.
Tommy's been the most mature out of them all.
This is what I'm saying to you. They've got so much to show you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
It's because he hasn't been blighted by life yet. That's right.
Yeah.
His heart hasn't been hurt by the cruel mistress that is life.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm
gosh.
so excited for the viewers to see what I experienced in there, and it's all starting to come to light.
Yeah. I think we need to talk about the game next.
Let's get into the first challenge of the series.
Oh.
We had the game last night, and what happened was, for listeners, all the boys and girls were lined up. They had to slide down a little slippery
The
way.
challenge team love a slip and slide, don't
Yeah.
they?
They picked up what looked like a big fat receipt. They had to read out what was on the receipt and guess if it was a particular boy or girl. And they had to kiss
Yeah.
who they thought it was.
Yeah.
So, obviously, who you think it was? The rules of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, 3 boys, Dejon, Harry, and Shay, decided rules what rules.
So me, Dejon and Shay devised a real sneaky little plan.
Make sure you do it for me.
Forget the rules. Let's just kiss
Let's
who
just
we
kiss
want.
whoever. You're getting it. Let's go.
But then
It's
the
like-
worst part was they were kissing people
Next
who they
to the
knew were
partner.
gonna like annoy
Yeah,
the
the
person they
partner.
were coupled up with. Like, I just thought it was so mean.
It'd be like the thing would come out and be like, this person works in a Vegas nightclub, which is obviously Tony. And they'd be like, that is
Meg.
definitely Shakira.
Yeah,
right. I would literally
That's
be
why
like,
I can understand Tommy getting frustrated, because how is Harry going to come to him, say it with chest that we've orchestrated this plan, and then your guy Shay is kissing Megan?
I know, like, there's lots to talk about girl code and bro code and stuff.
I was
But I
literally
do
about to
think
say
a
this.
lot of the time, boys are like, yeah, bro code, but banter comes before bro code.
Oh.
No.
And they don't really care who they hurt. And Harry thought it was so funny while he's telling Tommy. And I don't know whether he just didn't click.
Yeah.
And bless Tommy sat there laughing, and you can basically hear the cogs in his brain
cracks of his heart.
turning,
The heart
going, oh, so that means that my friends,
I've just kissed
Harry
my
and
girlfriend,
Dejon
Shay.
and Shay, have orchestrated it so that Shay can kiss Megan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could just see his heart
I know.
shatter. And then the way he stormed off, and he was like, Megan, let's go talk about this. I was thinking, you go, Tommy. Come on, you go. And then the
Yeah.
way he spoke to Shay was like, what are you saying?
Shay is a bombshell, which again, we have to give them like the bombshell thing of that is
Yeah.
your job. However, I think Harry and Dejon, they're supposed to be friends with Tommy, and I know that it's not Friend Island and stuff. But you think, okay, like when the bombshells come in, I know they're going to try and go for Megan because she's amazing. But your friends who've been there with you from the start should have your back.
Yeah.
I was just shocked by the whole thing at the end when they were like, "Oh, it wasn't that deep. Like we didn't even consider anyone's feelings. Like your actions were gonna hurt.
They were
people's
orchestrated.
feelings. And I know they haven't been in there long, and like you stay a week, a year in there, and all that. But like for some people, it is that deep. Like for Meg, I'm sure it's that deep. Do you know what I mean? Like I just feel it was mean. It was immature. And to then sit like with your chest and say, we didn't consider anyone's feelings.
And then laugh it
No,
off.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in disbelief. I
mean-
just thought, oh my God.
I do expect it from Harry because
Yeah,
just for
fair.
this morning's Harry update, he said it was going really well with Helena. Literally, it was a full stop. Next sentence started, but I owe it to myself to get to know the 3 new bombshells. Okay. Then he wanted to kiss Shakira in the challenge.
On the whole, like, boys plan and thinking like, oh, was it just a laugh or was it that deep? I feel like I'm the person, I'm always trying to see both sides, and I'm really trying to see the whole like joke in it.
You're
And
looking
it's
for
like,
a side.
I'm trying to find where, like, I understand banter, but for me, there was just something a little bit too dishonest to try and kiss somebody that you're interested in and leave it for a challenge. Because I just feel like, for example, Dejon, you could have used the real lifetime to actually pull Malicia for a chat and, you know, maybe let it happen naturally. I think there's something so under the belt about kissing somebody in a challenge because
Well,
you know
I
you
actually had
can't
a
kiss
theory.
them in real life.
I had a
Yeah.
theory about that. Obviously, after all the kickoff, Meg versus Malicia and stuff, obviously he couldn't go and pull Malicia for a chat.
Yeah,
so
no, it's
I
too much.
felt like he wanted to kiss Malicia to see if there was a spark there, to see if it was worth the ag. Because if they kissed in the challenge, even though it's a challenge kiss, if there was literally nothing there, doesn't need any more ag, can stay with Meg, wonderful.
Right. When I kissed Sammy for the first time, it was actually in a challenge.
But what was the challenge?
It was that one. It wasn't called the receipts, but it was a kind of like slippery, slidey, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had a spark with him during that kiss, and that's how I knew for sure that I actually want to get to know him.
Yeah.
So I do feel like even though the challenge is just a challenge, it's a game, you can have sparks during the game.
The challenge is a bit like speed dating. Like you can get a
Yeah,
vibe.
because it's also like no one knows deep
So
down
that's so
I want to
weird.
kiss you because it's a game. No one knows I actually like you.
I just
but
thought
hey.
it was poor timing.
Yeah.
Considering the drama the night before and how like
Yeah.
angry and upset Meg was, like to experiment with whether we've got a spark or not. Like just wait till the evening and kiss in the. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I
don't
feel like
know.
there
they
was
don't want
too
to
many
face up to the
repercussions.
Yeah,
Yeah, we would have had round 3.
Yeah.
Then we would have had apology number
There's
4.
gonna be round 3 anyway now, surely.
Oh, God. I feel like at
It's
the minute,
created more drama.
it's going to be everyone tapping each other in. You take over, round 7,
Yeah.
round 10,
But,
you take over. Like, it's too much.
The theme of last week was like, Harry, the cameras are on. Like, we can see what you're doing. And I feel like that, again, was those 3 boys thinking, we're really going to get away with this.
Yeah.
You're wearing microphones. We
Oh.
can hear everything you say.
Harry told Tommy anyway, and then it was like, oh God, I've just told him that it's going to get out. And like, I just was like, the whole thing was so messy. It was
Yeah.
just messy and immature and silly. Stupid.
But this is what I mean by like, I feel like the younger ones are really showing up as the older ones.
Yeah.
I would just want to say, I hope they all find some kind of community again. I feel
Yeah.
like there's a lot of tension. They're losing
Losing the
community.
values
yeah,
of what
family
Love
that
Island
they're-
is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at the minute, I feel like it's like the Wild Wild West. Every man for themselves. We're in a bit wild. We're going to cover this up with this, like the challenge and this. Whereas when we first went in there, we're in there going to Love Island together. And I feel like you said the community's gone because so much has happened and so many new people, so many new energies, but then at the same time clashing and it's bringing people apart.
Well, we'll find out what happens tonight.
Yes, we will.
Sophie and Maddie, thank you so much for joining us today. Have you had fun?
The best time. Thank you, my
Thank
lovely
you so much for
ladies.
joining us. Maddie,
you.
will you come back tomorrow?
Brilliant. Be there.
Good, otherwise you are going to get your
Yay!
yeah, I was going to say,
Give it back to me. You are actually contractually obliged, but thank you.
Make sure that you guys check out Love Island's first look tomorrow morning on our socials or YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a comment or send us a nice email. We like to read them, don't we?
We do.
Amy? At the morning after on itv.com. Goodbye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.